quick interview? Of course. How are you?
FabTV.
I know. Well, I mean, it was perfect to talk to you because
Yes.
you're fabulous. Of
We
course.
20th anniversary of the Fab Five.
20 years. Is it this year or is it? Wow.
We started shooting May 2003.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so we're quickly approaching the 20th anniversary of Queer Eye.
Wow.
So I know, wild. I did it when I was 4, so
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought you were 5.
Yeah,
I could have sworn you were 5. Yeah.
I was but a child, as Carson likes to say. But yeah,
Do you still see the guys or?
we have like a text thread that we talk. I mean, Carson I see a lot more frequently because he works out here so frequently, but they're all East Coasters. And so I was the wild child that moved here. But yeah, we talk quite frequently. And I end up actually seeing people like Karamo and Bobby from the new cast. We kind of run in some similar circles. So it's always really great to kind of hear their journey because they have a completely different experience of what it's like making the show. Ours was different and kind of guerrilla style, and I think there still is in many ways, but we were in New York City, and we would go to London or Texas or Vegas for a month, but they're really away, like in smaller markets for long periods of time. So I'm excited for what is to come, like what's next for them post Queer. I mean, Karama has his talk show. Everyone got a show, I feel like, out of that. Yeah, it's been great.
And I feel like, because obviously in this, business, careers ebb and flow, but you have kind of had a resurgence.
Yes. I mean, look, I feel like Queer Eye really elevated the other 4 guys on my cast because Queer Eye showcased what they could do for a living. For me, I was an actor, and we had to downplay that on camera because otherwise, if I'm an actor,
Everyone's an actor.
everyone's an actor. We're all faking it, and I wasn't faking it. I just happen to have the skill set of a really well-versed New Yorker who happened to give a younger perspective. But yeah, it's only been the past couple of years that, when I moved to LA, Queer Eye did not help my resume. It did not open doors. People were not giving me opportunities. They were like, no, you were on reality, so that's bad, and you probably just want to be on TV because whatever. I had a full half a decade of acting experience, Broadway, TV, film before Queer Eye. So now I'm glad that my body of work speaks for itself. And it's been a busy year with Bosch Legacy, Bros, Uncoupled, Fantasy Island. Just did 2 episodes of Nora from Queens with Bo and Yang. And so it's been kind of really cathartic. And on the 20th anniversary to kind of feel like, it took 2 decades, but at least I feel like I've done a good job of re-educating folks on what it is I do.
And I think what's so cool about you is your optimism, because I know, I'm going to be honest, I would probably be a little bit bitter if I was on the original cast and didn't get the opportunities that the new cast got, and even though I paved the way. But you seem to have, even if you did feel that, you haven't let that affect you in any way.
It's a couple things. One, Broadway. You work real hard, 8 shows a week, and you get, no glory. The conditions the theaters are decrepit, and you're working so hard, you don't go out, you save your voice. So the discipline of that. And then when Queer Eye came, and I felt like, oh, this is pretty easy. And then we were global in 2 seconds and on the cover of magazines. I understood the difference in the work, and I was like, oh, I met the biggest stars in the world. We're all the same. But I will say, in terms of the bitterness, it was really tricky in 2003. Being queer in Latin was not celebrated. I didn't have people that were getting 7-figure endorsement deals that looked like me that happened to be queer in Latin. But my other cast members were getting those deals. So when I look at people like Tan and Karamo specifically, even JVN, they're non-binary, and those kind of identities during my Queer Eye, there was no commerce from businesses that were like, we celebrate all the boxes you check for diversity. Back then it was like, you can be the Jack or the Will, and if you're not one of those two, we have no room for you. And so I'm not bitter, I celebrate them. I was at Karamo's house, I think it was for Labor Day, and I remember walking in and seeing a view of the Hollywood sign from his guest house that was by the pool, and I was like, okay, yeah, they didn't pay me like this on Queer Eye,
God no, yeah.
But there was a sense of pride in how far we've come, and if we crack the door open just a little, it's amazing to see what they took with it, because they came in and they were like, we're going to do this our way. And any producer is going to be like, no, let's do it how we know it'll work. And this cast was very vocal from jump. We're not trying to copy what was already done. And they really were adamant about that, and they've shared that. That surprised me because I was scared to speak up. like to cause waves. Now I can find my voice in those moments, but yeah, I'd still like those endorsements. But it is also social media that they have. We didn't have that.
That's really what it is, because they can always rely on that. If they're not working, then they've got a million people like that.
One post.
There's a guest house.
I'm guessing, but I also low-key kind of know.
Yes.
One post for them is like high 5 figures, 6 figures on Instagram, you know? So that is like more than most people's yearly salary. But I remember on Queer Eye, when we talk about a product or chair or whatever, it would sell out. So they do have the power to be tastemakers in that way. But one thing I like about all of them, they've managed to keep a good head on their shoulders and have a sense of humility. And they always treated us with incredible dignity. There was an award show, they won something, and the producers spoke on their behalf. And then before they left the stage, Tan grabbed the mic and said, "And we want to thank the original Fab Five. We wouldn't be here without them." And I thought, how classy. How classy. Just, you didn't have to do that. And I think everyone is, this is a dream. It'll never happen. I'd like the opportunity for all 10 of us to be in a room and do something joyous whenever their show comes to a close, if and when it does, the finale episode or something. I'd like to be in a room with them because I'd like to celebrate what the 10 of us helped create.
I love that. I think that's a beautiful idea.
Can you make it happen, viewers?
I will. I'm not sure at FabTV if I can make the Fab 10 happen, but you never know. You never know. Yeah, and even like talking to people, what I do for my job is, I would say 80% of the time, people never imagine that they would be where they are.
Never.
80% of the time.
I felt that. I don't know if you did at the Oscars. This year we had so many actors who had either given up, stepped away, had to take other sideline work that wasn't necessarily acting just to make ends meet. It's the not glamorous side of the industry that people don't even consider. And so, you never ever, until that moment comes, think it's a reality. And that's how I felt on Queer Eye. All of a sudden, it was this wild moment, and I was on some of the world's biggest stages thinking, me? Having celebrities run up to you and you're like, I'm still the same person. Now more people know who I am. Back then, that's how it was. But social media is a trip. It's been fascinating.
Because it's hard, because I feel like a lot of times when you get that fame or those accolades, that you kind of then, you define yourself as, that's who I am now.
Right.
And then when that gets taken away, who am I? Because you became that.
That is the great thing about theater. Musicals open and then close, and I was a part of a couple shows that opened and closed, and I knew from day one of Queer Eye, at some point, this is going to end. And so I was mentally prepared for that. We did 100 episodes, won an Emmy, became New York Times bestsellers. Things happen on paper, but mentally I knew I had to be okay without the show, because if I define my self-worth by what I'm currently working on, man, I would be in the gutter half of the time, because we don't work all that frequently. You're lucky if you're jumping from show to show, but generally there's big gaps, and how you treat yourself and how kind you are to yourself in those in-between times, that's how you stay level in this industry and make sure that your mental health stays in check. And humility.
Yeah, humility. Awesome. And I just had one more question for you, actually. What's the most beautiful thing that you've had from a fan, that you've shaped in a way through seeing you in TV?
I mean, I think during the early seasons of Queer Eye, what people don't know is that we didn't expect it to be an emotional series. One of the first times we said goodbye to the straight guy, we're like, okay, don't forget tonight, you have to do this. And the producer steps in, she says, okay, Bob, you're never going to see the boys again, so if you want to say anything to them. And he was like, yeah, okay. And he got so emotional. And we laughed because we thought he was joking. We didn't know what we were a part of. And ever since then, I had so many people stop me in airports or wherever and say, because of you, it was safe for me to come out. My dad came out, or I understood my brother better, and it really bridged the gap when at the time we didn't even have marriage equality. The world needed it. And then a certain president comes into office, and there's a new Queer Eye when, again, the world needed it. So some of the most beautiful moments were people sharing the impact the show had on them. And for me, that is the commerce. It wasn't the endorsements or whatever. That, for me, is sort of, what is of most value.
And I'm sure that there were lives that were saved because of that show. I can almost guarantee that.
I know that I would have loved to have seen, more queer representation when I was younger. It was before the internet. It took 47 minutes to get to a picture of a nipple on dial-up. I had no idea what happened between two men. And to know that people could be successful and thriving and living a joyous life and be gay was an alien thought to me as a kid. And now we have so much representation that I think I can see that for some folks, seeing us for the one of the things I get all the time is you were the first person I connect with that was also queer on television. And the funny thing is when straight people or gay people would be like, and I would stay up late at night and hide and watch Queer. I'm like, you're straight. Technically, it was in the title for you.
For you,
no shame there. But that is the biggest thing. And I've also I have some really beautiful. My fans call themselves the Jaybirds.
Oh, the Jaybirds. I like that.
It's my onset nickname. I don't know why straight people call me that, but the crew always says Jaybird.
Jaybird, yeah.
Anyway, long story short, one of them, a friend of mine, Heaven, she has a tattoo of me as Angel, my character, the drag character I played in Rent, on her arm because she said that character and that role saved her life. So, you never know what small, simple thing. And I mean, even the barista or someone at the fast food place, a small act of kindness is telling someone have a good day, and they weren't. And really meaning it when you say that, you really kind of, set the domino effect that they'll pay that forward, that kindness.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations.
Chat. What a lovely
of
chat.
Course. I could chat with you forever, but I'm like seeing people start to come. So
there's important people.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.